why in the world is nutrition and the nourishment of our body so freaking confusing. I am gonna get down and dirty with you and expose the truth behind the contradictory nutrition information you are constantly hearing. Hi, I'm Mollie Mason. I am a holistic nutritionist and I help women show up for their brightest lives. If you want tips for your wellness journey, you are in the right place. Hit subscribe below and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss new videos. Look, I get it. I hear from y'all all the time that you are so freaking confused about what the heck to believe when it comes to nutrition advice. You have no idea what to do when it comes to how to nourish and honor your body because the nutrition information you are constantly hearing on a daily basis is so contradictory. You're hearing about the craze of keto and how incredibly wonderful and powerful and successful it can be, and then you're hearing how detrimental it can be for your hormones. You hear all about intermittent fasting and how you shouldn't eat anything before noon, and then you tune into my videos and you hear me telling you that you should definitely not be doing that. I get that it is so frustrating as someone who is trying to care for their body, who is trying to make healthy choices. It is so frustrating when you are constantly being bombarded from every possible direction about what to do and how to do it, and none of it ever makes sense. In this video, I wanna pull back the curtain. I want to expose the truth and what is going on behind the scenes with leading nutrition information. I'm gonna share with you 6 reasons nutrition advice is so confusing, and with that, hopefully help you understand the lens in which you can view all this nutrition information through, and then how to know how to navigate what choices to make for yourself. We're just gonna jump right in. Reason number 1, nutrition is so freaking complicated. Your body is so freaking complicated. There are more chemical reactions happening in your cells in 1 single second than there are stars in our galaxy. I mean, honestly, can we even wrap our heads around that? Your body, the web of billions and trillions of cells that make up your body, is a masterpiece. Every single part of you was knit together with genius design. You have 86 billion neurons in your brain sending signals to trillions and trillions of cells that are all performing their own functions at all times. It's mind-blowing. Honestly, I could cry just thinking about how intricate our design is, how marvelous our design is. I think it is so important that we view our bodies first from this perspective, just for how complex and powerful and beautiful our bodies are. So along with that, reason number 2, it is nearly impossible to fully isolate certain variables. Knowing how complex our bodies are, it's really helpful then to understand when we are talking leading nutrition information and the latest research and what works and what doesn't and all of the information that is constantly being fed to you, you have to understand how challenging it is to fully isolate particular variables in our bodies. As a easy and obvious example, there was a large study done decades ago that showed that eating meat was bad for heart health. That was the conclusion of the study. It is so important to acknowledge that when we survey thousands of people and we evaluate whether or not they're meat eaters and then we look at their heart health, there's so much complexity to what makes up our heart health and not just one particular piece of our diet. Exercise, lifestyle habits, smoking, and of course understanding that if the leading thought at the time was that eating meat was bad and a vegetarian diet was the healthier diet, you're naturally going to have health conscious people making non-meat choices. There's just so much complexity to it. Even within studies that have really strong control mechanisms, it's still so challenging to fully isolate a single variable. We have been duped into seeing our bodies as separate systems, and we think from that lens that we can just isolate these separate systems, but that's not true. That's not how our bodies work. Factors that affect one part of our bodies do have an impact on other parts because we are so intricately designed. Reason number 3, every single body is so unique. I know I don't have to tell you this, you are unique from your neighbor next door. That's an obvious fact that all of us are aware of, but when it comes to tabloids and magazine headlines and all the nutrition information that is constantly being berated at you, we can tend to forget that. we can forget that what works for one person might not work for someone else. And we totally have this mentality in this diet culture and media culture that there is one way to do things, and there is one diet that is healthy, and there is one diet that works. Bio-individuality is a real thing, and it is so important that we have this perspective when it comes to our bodies and our health and our food choices. Your genetics, the way that you are designed, the way that you react to things, as well as every other piece of your lifestyle aside from just the food that you eat, it has such an impact that makes you react in a different way than your coworker or your best friend or the girl you follow on Instagram. And how she eats might not be the same as what's going to work for you. Reason number 4 nutrition information is so confusing. The vast majority of research studies are done on a very select population, aka the vast majority of the time, young, healthy adult males. This is one you've heard me talk a lot about. You know, I have to give the intermittent fasting example here. This is something I did and practiced for a long time because I was like, hey, all the research shows that this is so beneficial for giving my gut a break, for reducing inflammation. It's great. Intermittent fasting, it's great. Yeah, well, it's really important to realize, at least at this point, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but I myself have not been able to find a single large-scale study that has been done on women when it comes to intermittent fasting. Specifically, women in their reproductive years, menstruating women. This is so important. I can't stress this enough. Us ladies who are in our reproductive years, who have a monthly period, our hormones work on a 28-day cycle. Men, their hormones are on a 24-hour cycle. We have incredibly different biochemistry, and we have very different needs when it comes to how we nourish our bodies. Men are literally designed to be more resilient to stressors that come with fasting. It is completely inappropriate to think that what is working on a healthy young adult male is the same thing as what's going to work on a menstruating woman. They're not the same. They're not the same. It's just so important to understand that if there is a product that tells you it has clinical trials that prove it works, if there is a doctor or a approach to nutrition that says that there's all this research that proves that this way of eating works, you just need to understand research only says so much. It's so important to understand who this research is being done on. Reason number 5, there are people that benefit from convincing you you need to eat a certain way. I'm gonna say that again. There are people that benefit from convincing you that you need to eat a certain way. I'm not even gonna spend that much time diving into this because just know that there are individuals, industries, companies that benefit in a lot of different ways from getting you to believe that the nutrition advice they are preaching is correct. Put another way, there are a lot of companies and industries that benefit from you being very confused over how to nourish your body. We're just gonna leave it at that, okay? And finally, the most important one of all, reason number 6 that nutrition advice is so confusing, goals matter. We have to see everything through the lens of what is the goal of how we nourish our bodies. In our diet culture, in the society that we live in the predominant cultural approach to nutrition, we see thinness as the same thing as health. We so often view everything about nutrition through the lens of weight loss. I need you to hear me right now. Weight loss is not the same thing as health. Obviously, there is some connection to a healthy body weight and health, but weight loss is not the same thing as health. And the size of your body is not the most important indicator to the status of your health. In fact, I think I'm willing to go out there and say that the vast majority of weight loss techniques and diets, and therefore nutrition advice that you hear on a daily basis, the vast majority of that is actually moving our bodies in the opposite direction of true health, of true optimal human performance, and most health markers. So yes, if your goal is weight loss, there are a lot of diets that will work. Trust me, as a woman, I have spent almost my entire life under this same illusion that losing weight equals good. That the goal of everything I eat in a day and how I nourish my body is to change the number that is staring back at me on the other side of a scale. There are so many important markers of our health that we need to be considering besides just our weight. Our energy, our hormone balance, our mineral status, our mood stability, our libido, how resilient we are to stress. I really do want you to take a hot second and ask yourself, what is the goal of how I nourish my body? Because the goal of how you nourish your body is going to have a huge impact on the nutrition philosophies that you choose to apply to your life. So there you go, 6 reasons nutrition advice is so confusing. So yeah, throw all of that in one giant jumbled mess of constant media and information and lies and marketing schemes. It is absolutely no surprise that we have an entire society, an entire generation, multiple generations now, that has literally no earthly clue about how to make choices and how to nourish their body. Obviously, I give a lot of nutrition advice myself. You can watch a lot of other videos on my channel in which I give you advice on how to eat and how to nourish your body. I am one of those sources of nutrition advice that might be confusing you. My goal with this video specifically is to give you a lens in which to see all the information you ever get through. I want you, anytime you watch my video, anytime you read a newspaper headline, anytime your coworker is talking about the new diet they're on, I want you to think about these 6 things. When information is presented to you, to discern whether or not you think it's actually in line with your body and your goals and the hopes that you have in the choices that you make. I wonder if it would be fun to do a whole video or maybe even a series of videos debunking particular nutrition headlines. Would you guys like that? If you have particular questions about nutrition information, drop them for me below. I tell you that my whole goal is to help you show up for your brightest life, and I believe that showing up well for your life, showing up for the abundant life you were made for, it requires so much more than a small body. The goal of my nutrition advice and the way that I nourish my body and the way that I want to help you learn to nourish your own body is to feel vibrant and energetic and healthy and strong and resilient. If that sounds like what you want more of in your life, check out all the resources I have linked for you in the description box below. Don't miss these videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.